Marcus Thorne was a man who lived behind glass, untouchable both literally and figuratively. As the youngest CEO in his company's history, he built an empire on precision, structure, and absolute control. But behind his stoic presence lay a truth most didn't know. Marcus suffered from a rare psychosomatic condition. His body reacted violently, rashes, difficulty breathing, when coming into physical contact with women. Doctors called it a trauma response. He called it his protection. No one questioned him. No one dared. The staff moved around him like shadows. Executives respected his space. Assistants never lasted more than a month. And maids? They came and went, always silent, always forgettable, until her. Elena was hired by the cleaning agency to work the late shift at Thorne Enterprises. She wasn't meant to be seen. Dressed in plain black slacks and a gray uniform, she moved like part of the building. Her eyes stayed low, hands steady, mouth shut. But what no one noticed, Marcus did. He saw how she lined up the chairs in the boardroom with surgical precision. How she adjusted a crooked painting on the executive floor without hesitation. How she paused for a full 10 seconds in front of the CEO's office, always as if asking silent permission before entering, even though no one else did. She didn't look at him when they crossed paths. Didn't flinch. Didn't try to charm or engage him. Just did her job with near-military attention. And that made her dangerous, in the best way. One night, Marcus reviewed security footage while investigating a recent data breach. He wasn't looking for her. But there she was. Rewinding once, twice. Watching her pause by the shredder bin, tilt her head, then empty it even though it wasn't full. Small, unnecessary act, but it told him everything. She paid attention. The next evening, he left a note on his desk after hours. *, please do not move the file on the corner. Testing a pattern. *, the file remained untouched the next morning. She'd followed the request. Then, beneath his original note, another line had been added in careful handwriting. *, understood. Bin was still warm. Someone was here after 2 a.m. He stared at the message for a long time. Their silent exchange continued for weeks. Post-it notes became a language. He left puzzles, she solved them. He asked questions. She answered with precision. She never asked why. Never overstepped. In boardrooms and news articles, Marcus was a titan. But in those quiet, after-hours exchanges, he felt more human than he had in years. And yet, Elena remained invisible to everyone else. Executives passed her without a glance. HR didn't even know her name. But she saw everything. And Marcus knew, if he paid attention to her the way she paid attention to the world, he'd uncover truths others missed. Still, he kept his distance. Until one night, the building shut down unexpectedly. A blackout during a cyber breach locked every exit. Emergency lights flickered. Alarms blared, then fell silent. Everyone was gone except Elena. And Marcus Thorne. The air was heavy with emergency lights pulsing red through the silence. Elena moved fast, checking corridors and stairwells. She wasn't supposed to be there, but she never left early, not until her job was done right. That's when she saw him. Marcus, alone, sitting on the floor of his office, breathing too hard, eyes unfocused. She froze. Everyone knew not to touch him. But he looked broken. Gloves on, she stepped closer. No words. Just a cold bottle of water placed near his hand. He flinched but didn't speak. Minutes passed. His breath slowed. His eyes found hers. Still no words. Just a long, unguarded look. He didn't send her away. That night stretched longer than either expected. The building locked down tight. Two people trapped in silence, in flickering half-light, surrounded by steel and secrets. Eventually, he spoke. Short sentences. Flat voice. She listened. My mother said I was a curse. She sold stories to tabloids about my skin condition. My ex-fiancé used my diagnosis to humiliate me in front of shareholders. Elena said nothing. She sat 2 feet away, back against the wall, listening like it mattered. He laughed once, dry, bitter. "You're the first person to sit with me like this." Still, she said nothing. When the lights came back and the system unlocked, she stood, nodded, and walked out. But something stayed behind. She didn't expect to see him again. She didn't expect anything. She returned to work like always, quiet, focused, unseen. 3 weeks later, she collapsed in the break room. Dizziness. Nausea. She thought it was stress. The clinic said otherwise. Triplet. She stared at the test results in silence, her heartbeat louder than anything else. No one could know. Not yet. Marcus hadn't called her. Hadn't left a note. That night, it seemed, meant nothing to him. But to her, it changed everything. Not just the pregnancy. Her entire posture shifted. She stood taller. Watched more closely. She had something to protect now. And for the first time, she started to be seen. A junior analyst thanked her for fixing a printer no one else had touched. A security guard started nodding to her. People were noticing, just barely, but it was enough. Marcus noticed too. Not with words. With details. Her shift changed. The executive floor added a medical kit, quietly. A stipend appeared in her account, marked as performance bonus. No one else received one. Still, no conversation. No confrontation. Just space. Silence. Until the morning Marcus called her name for the first time. Elena. One word. But everything changed. Elena turned slowly when she heard her name. No one in that building ever said it. Not like that. Not with weight. Marcus stood at the end of the hallway. No gloves. No barrier. Just him. Exposed, quiet, and watching her like she was the only person left in the world. "I know," he said. She didn't ask what he meant. She already knew he knew. The silence between them had always said more than words. "You're not leaving," he added. Not a question. A statement. "I wasn't planning to," she replied. That was it. No dramatics. No promises. Just mutual understanding. After that, things shifted. Subtle, sharp. She noticed more. Files moved when no one was scheduled to be in, access logs that didn't match timestamp. Expense reports with buried anomalies. She wasn't trying to spy. She just saw what others missed. It was habit. Survival. Marcus began asking her to stay late. No meetings. No reports. Just her observations. "What did you see last night?" The VP's assistant took shredding to the 3rd floor. "She's not cleared for that." "I know." Every night, a new detail. Every morning, a pattern emerging. He didn't praise her. Didn't flatter. But he acted. Reassigned people. Changed locks. Installed quiet failsafe. She watched him rebuild his empire from the inside out, with her input. She never asked for credit. But he gave it anyway. "You catch what the systems miss," he said once. "That makes you more valuable than half the board." Still, the others didn't know. Executives whispered about her. Who was she? Why did the CEO keep her around? She didn't care. She was pregnant, carrying 3 lives that had no place in this tower of glass and power. But she stayed. Not for Marcus. Not for protection. For something bigger. Because for the first time in her life, someone saw her. Not as help. Not as background. But as necessary. One night, Marcus handed her a thick file. "Something's off," he said. "Someone's bleeding us dry." She flipped through it. Numbers, names, vendors. Inconsistencies stacked like breadcrumbs. "You want me to find the leak?" "I want you to confirm what I already suspect." She nodded. No fear. Just focus. In the next 3 days, she cross-checked every invoice against calendar logs, background checks, and office entry record. What she found was surgical. A pattern of stolen funds masked by dummy accounts, authorized at the highest levels. The thief wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was sitting next to Marcus at the table. His second in command. She slid the final page across the desk. "This is your mole." Marcus didn't flinch. "Good," he said. Now let's bury him. Marcus didn't wait. The next morning, he scheduled a fake strategy meeting. Just 10 people invited. Elena wasn't one of them, but she was listening through a silent channel fed by the building's overlooked AV room. She watched the man she'd identified, Lucas Grant. Smile, talk numbers, pitch expansion. Confident. Too confident. Marcus played along. For exactly 38 minutes. Then he dropped a single line. Before we move forward, let's review vendor allocations for the last quarter. Lucas stiffened. Only slightly. But enough. A screen lit up behind Marcus, charts, invoices, accounts. Elena's work displayed clean and irrefutable. Lucas tried to interrupt. Marcus raised a hand. No need to speak. You've done enough. Security stepped in within seconds. Lucas barely protested. Just glared at Marcus, then turned to Elena's camera. He knew. She didn't blink. It was over. Quietly. Efficiently. No scandal. No press. Just removal. Later that day, Marcus found her in the AV room. She didn't ask how he knew she'd be there. You saved this company, he said. She shook her head. You paid attention. Most wouldn't. He looked at her for a long time. You saw what I couldn't. Trusted what others ignored. I saw what you chose not to see, she corrected. He nodded once. No ego. Just acceptance. The next week, the entire board was restructured. 3 resignations. 2 retirements. A new division created. Internal intelligence. Elena was offered the lead. She declined. I don't need a title, she said. I just want space to keep doing what I do. He didn't argue. Instead, he made sure she had everything she needed: discretion, access, protection. Whispers spread again. The maid who brought down the COO. The girl with no resume who got an office near the top. She ignored it all. Because she wasn't working for credit. She was building something safer. For herself, for her children, for the man who had learned to trust her instincts over anyone else's. At night, when the building emptied, she still walked the halls. Still noticed the small things. Except now, people noticed her back. Elena didn't announce her due date. No one needed to know. But Marcus did. He cleared his schedule without telling anyone why. He was there before the first contraction ended. No gloves. No barrier. Just his hand steady beside hers. 3 cries echoed through the room. 2 boys, 1 girl. Tiny, fierce. She didn't cry until after they did. He held each one, skin to skin. No reaction. No allergy. No fear. Weeks later, Marcus called a press conference. Not to announce a product. Not a merger. Just a change. We've built this company on innovation, he said. But we failed to innovate in one place: how we see people. He didn't mention Elena by name. He didn't have to. She stood at the edge of the room, holding their daughter, as every executive turned toward her. He ended with a single sentence. The person who saved this company was someone you've all walked past. After that, nothing was the same. Policy changed. Leadership restructured. For the first time, cleaning staff attended strategy briefings. Not to speak, but to listen. Their reports shaped decisions. Elena declined every promotion offered. She preferred silence. But she accepted one request. Marcus asked her to design a new program for frontline employees. She named it Project Quiet Force. Her name never went on the door. But the ripple started with her. People noticed their environment more. Listened harder. Looked twice. Marcus visited her often, sometimes with one of the babies, sometimes just with questions. She always had answers. She never tried to change him. He never tried to fix her. Respect built in silence. Love in the space between. And though the world still saw Marcus Thorne as the man who touched no one, behind closed doors, Elena knew better. He just needed someone worth breaking the rule for. And she'd never let him forget, she wasn't a rule. She was the exception.